Hey, what's happening, gamers? Mojo here. This is going to be an episode of What's in My Stable. Basically, I'm going to go through all the different horses that I have and the saddles that they're wearing, tell you why I have the horses, what they're good for, what they're not good for, and what the saddles do. So let's start off by heading on into the stable here and see what we have. We've got the Appaloosa. This was a gold bar horse, 17 gold bars. Reason I got it, it's handles like the Missouri Foxtrotter. It's got 6 and 5 on the speed. You go ahead and put the Nacogdoches saddle on it. You got 7 and 6. Tons of stamina, good amount of health. So let's go ahead and take this one out. So it's almost the size of the Missouri Foxtrotter. A little bit smaller, but it's got a decent little sprint to it. It covers lots of ground really fast. It's also a workhorse. So this thing already comes with a ton of stamina. It does not like to hunt though. You cannot take this thing around predators. This sucker will just run away and dump you on the ground every single time. So it's good for, like, you know, running around if you need to cover ground, if you want to do some traveling, maybe do some collecting, get into areas where there's like heavy trees and stuff like that. You don't want a big horse. Here you go, the Appaloosa. Alright, next up is the Norfolk Roadster. This is the last tier horse from the Moonshiner setup, but it's already coming with, you know, 9 and 8 on the speed without the Nacogdoches saddle, which is already pretty crazy fast. We've noticed anything over 6, you know, as long as you've got 6 speed, you're going to be able to keep up with just about anything out there anyway. So, level 9 on the speed. This one's a bigger horse, really good at running, excellent with the health, it can take some bullets, etc. Put the Moonshiner saddle on this one because it has really good stats, and since the horse already has tons of stamina anyway, it can make the runs without having to put the Nacogdoches on it. The Nacogdoches really is for improving a horse that needs a little improvement, or taking a racehorse and extending that stamina out, because racehorses only come at 50%. But we'll get to that one in a little bit. So as you can see, this horse is a little stockier, but he's still got some really good speed on him. He's an athletic build, not just a straight up bull build, so he's got a little bit more takeoff on the speed versus some of the heavier horses. He's still a good size, but he can handle and turn on a dime. Excellent with the hunting. Will hold his own against wolves. Cougars they have a problem with. Bears, they'll stay as close as they can until, you know, the bear will eventually, you know, make them lose you. But all in all, this is a very good horse. If you don't have the Moonshiner set up, you know, definitely want to get that, because this is one of those must-haves. Alright, this is Old Faithful here. I've had this one since, probably around beta. This is my Turkomon. Now, as you can see, it comes with 8 and 7, standard handling, very tall horse. This is a war horse. So, he's got a really good build on him. He's slim, though. So, as you can see, he's got good stocky front on him. You know, he's got some good strong body build, but he's not crazy fast. If you put the Nacogdoches on him, again, you'll kick him up to 9 on the speed, but I really found that he's pretty good just the way he is. This one is just my use for anything and everything horse. It is a war horse, so it's very brave, stand its ground with predators and so on. An excellent all-around horse to have. Although it is a little tall if you get into certain terrain with a lot of trees, etc. Definitely want to watch out for that, because you can get clotheslined. Alright, this one I've actually done a video on before, the Gray Overo. I've purchased this one several times. I think this is actually my 3rd one. It's a workhorse, it's a paint, it's got 6 and 6 saddle on it, you get the 7 and 7. But it's just an all-around great horse. I think this one was about 16 gold bars. Medium size, good little haunches on this thing. It's got a solid build. It can really maneuver. It's got some decent little pickup on it. It's basically like if you get a little Porsche. You know, this was a very small, fast car. It's not crazy on the top speed, but it's quick. So it's really good to have. And this one is actually extremely brave. The more expensive the horse, usually the braver it is a general rule of thumb. You know, if it costs gold, the more gold it costs, the better it's going to be. Not only in handling, and but, you know, as far as like what it can do versus predators, which is a big part of the game. There's nothing like getting dropped on the ground and left to be eaten by a pack of wolves or something. Alright, now this one is a 6 gold bar horse. This is an American standard, but this one has race handling. Race handling means that they turn a little bit sharper, they handle a little bit better. I've also noticed that the camera is smoother on some of these other horses. as you can see, the American Standard is a little bit taller, but these things can really cut some corners and they handle really well. This is a racehorse, so the stamina is only about 50%. You're going to want to throw the Nacogdoches saddle on these, just so you can stretch that stamina out and make it run as far as you want. Other than that, any of the American Standards, like I said, speeds of 6 or more, you're good. So any of them will do. This horse will do. This was just basically a color preference. So it's the last American Standard that they have, that buckskin one. Not a fan of though, with blue eyes. Do not like the way it handles. The same handling can be found with the Turkemon, and you get a braver horse. So I would recommend that one over there. The Missouri Foxtrotter. This one you can get in either color. You're looking at a 9 and 7 on the speed when it comes stock. Throw saddle on 10 and 8. Tons of stamina, good amount of health. This is a good all-around horse to have. It's a little bit smaller than the American Standard bred, but that also means that this thing can handle in tight spaces and so on. It's really quick. It's got a ton of long distance speed. This thing can stop on a dime. It almost handles as good as a racehorse, but it's also very brave. It's expensive, so you'd expect to get a little more bang for your buck, and you do with this one for sure. Missouri Foxtrotter, definitely one that you want to have. Alright, this one is actually from the collector roll. This is one of the Criollos. I think this is the second tier. This isn't actually the last tier because it was already fast enough, and I really like the color. I did put the collector saddle on it also. This has a ton of good stats, so it makes this little horse run forever. So this one's actually a little bit bigger than the paint. It's not as bulky in the hips and so on as far as the overall weight of it, but it's incredibly quick. And since it has faster speed and acceleration, this little thing is like a little rocket horse. It has a little bit more long distance running speed than the paint does, so definitely one you want to have. And this one also has a very unique feature where it actually coasts. Some of the horses will slow down much faster once you stop kicking them. This one will actually just kind of keep running that speed down for a little bit longer distance. So when you're running around using your eagle eye, this is a really good collector horse. Okay, on to another racehorse here. This is the Thoroughbred. Now this is the gold bar horse. I think this one was about 18, but as you can see it maxes out on the speed at 10 and 8. The Norfolk Roadster is actually the fastest horse in the game. Once you put the saddle on it, it maxes out I think at 10 and 9, so it has slightly more acceleration. But this is another really good horse. Now this is a very tall horse, so you're going to have to watch it whenever you get into close quarters, you know, trees, heavy rocky cliffs, etc., etc. Open territory, this thing is just rocks. I actually switch over to this horse every now and then when my fingers are getting tired, because since it's taller, you don't have to kick it as often because the feet aren't moving as fast. So that's another added bonus. Nacogdoches saddle on this because it's only, what is that, like, yeah, 60% stamina, so you definitely want to be able to make it run long distance, and the Nacogdoches is the only thing right now that, it's really just the best saddle. It's ugly as hell, but it's just the best saddle for racehorses. Also very brave. I use this horse for hunting and so on. It handles against, you know, large predators. It doesn't like gators, doesn't like bears, doesn't like cougars, but it can hold its ground against wolves, and tons of speed, tons of acceleration. This is just a horse you can just run and run and run and run and cover lots of ground on. Multi-class Gypsy Cob. Yeah, this is from the Naturalist roll, the last one. I actually waited to get, I tried all the other tiers of the Naturalist roll, but I ended up getting this one just because of the speed. The other ones, you can really feel how slow they are. This is a bulky horse, so you really want to have some acceleration on it, and the last tier was the best one, and it had the best look for me. This is like an all-around horse. As you can see, it's kind of short in the middle, but still stocky. This is a decent horse for hunting on. It handles its own against wolves, doesn't like cougars so much, doesn't like gators at all. Bears, not too bad. He'll track on them pretty decent. But it's got a little bit more bulk, and he's got some good acceleration on it, but not on top speed. He's alright. He can run. It just doesn't feel like you're going as fast because the horse is kind of, like I said, kind of bulky. And so you're not really feeling the speed as it stretches its legs of the bigger horses. Or some of those smaller ones when they just start churning their little feet so fast. But another really good horse to have, excellent mountain horse, because it's smaller stature, it handles, you know, through the tougher terrain, the rugged areas, and this thing can go up and down, a little bit more inclines and declines. So really, another good horse that you want to put in your stable. So there we go, a quick review of everything that's in my stable right now. At each update, I kind of go through each horse. You know, I've even tried male and female versions to see if there's any difference. There's not much. You know, everything's personal preference at this point. Once you get a horse that's about six speed or more, you should be fine. You don't really have to go for the fastest horses in the game. So hopefully this helped, and if you have any more questions or anything like that, just